All right, so this is the first card that we're going to be creating, and we have an image here that's just a 3D rose embossing folder. It's a beautiful folder that's got some extra dimension to it. This is one that I didn't demonstrate in the embossing in 3D or die cutting in 3D embossing video, but the background is done exactly the same way as all of the other 3D backgrounds. The only difference is it's a smaller version or a smaller size. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a finger and I'm going to work from the back to the front. So the pastes are, I want to say, semi-opaque. So like I got a little bit of turquoise on the leaf there, and for 3D embossing folders, especially if you're trying to be a little bit precise, it is a little bit more challenging to do that. But by working from the back to the front, if I happen to get some different colors onto the flowers, I can put some of the pink over top of it, and it's not going to completely cover it, but it is going to mute those colors. And I don't necessarily worry about getting the turquoise onto the leaves because it's not going to be a weird color for on leaves. It's just going to be more of a weird color on the flowers. And the paste dries super quick. You can see that I'm dipping my fingers into it quite regularly, and that's because the paste has already dried, which means by the time I'm done this card front, it's ready to glue right onto the base of the card or the mat or whatever. So I don't have to wait for things to dry. Now I'm going to do my leaves, and I'm just using a very fine light touch. Okay, I want to get a little bit of turquoise in that behind those there. So I'm just using a light touch to try to get just the surface. For this particular look, I'm not too worried if I get a little bit on the background. It's just part of the whole look of this particular card. So precision is not something that you're going to be easily able to do with this. Which for this one, you may want to be a little bit more precise. Okay, cleaning my fingers off, I'm just going to use a baby wipe because I don't want to take my fingers. I typically choose a different finger for each color, but I don't have 5. Well, I do have 5 fingers, but you can't do it with your thumb. So now I'm going to, this light pink here is very, very light, so it's not going to cover a whole lot, but I want to do a light pink base on my flowers before I go and do the darker pink. And I love that it dries so fast because, yeah, I don't have to wait for anything to dry before gluing it down. Now you'll notice I went from the light pink to the dark pink. I use the same finger because I'm not going to contaminate anything. A, they're both pinks, and B, the lighter one, you're not even going to see it into the darker one there. All right, so that is done. And the last thing I want to do for this is I just wanted to frame it in a little bit. So I'm using a brown gold. And I'm just putting a little bit around the edges. And I just found it framed it in just a little bit. All right, wipe my fingers off. And then I am going to glue this onto the mat so that it can dry while I'm working on the mat piece. I'm using the same Inka Gold colors to color in the matte piece. You could use this solid piece of cardstock if you wanted. But by using the Inka Gold colors, I am making sure that it's going to match perfectly. So the one thing with the 3D folders is you have to hold them down to really glue them. So rather than hold it down, I'm just going to put that on there for right now. And then I don't want to get any of this brown and turquoise. I'm going to clean it up super quick. And then I'm going to do this on my matte piece. Now I want, this is a little bit wider mat than I normally do, so this is about a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to be doing it about a 1/2 inch in. I don't need to do the center, it's going to be covered up. There's no point in doing it. I'm going to move this over here just so it's a little bit closer. But you see how quickly I have to re-ink my finger because this is already dry. Now, having said that, it's not drying in there that fast. But if I was spending hours with my container open, I would take my misting bottle and I would just mist it periodically. Just all right. So through technical difficulties and phones not working the way they're supposed to, my phone or my video cut off partly through recording that last bit there. So there's a few sections we need to re-record, but that's okay. So I'm just going to finish putting the paste on this mat. And I'm not sure what I've already said and what I haven't said, but you'll see some variations in the color. There's some lights and darks. I don't mind that for this particular card, this particular technique, because with the background, there's different darks and lights and stuff like that. I think it goes with it, as well as the fact that because this pink matches perfectly with my roses and I don't have to match cardstock, I love that. So because of the glitch with my recording, my card is already put together, but I would just glue this to my card base and then glue this to the front of it, and it will cover all of that white little center there. So there is our completed card there and our sample. Super simple technique. This card was done within 10 minutes, aside from doing the embossing for the flowers and having to wait for that to completely dry. That's what took the longest. The actual card went together super, super quickly. So I'll see you in the next video. We're going to be doing this technique with a different background, and then we're also going to do a little bit of watercoloring. We'll see you there.